Get ready for a widespread collapse. If the United States officially enters a recession, a series of familiar fast food chains could disappear faster than you think. And no, we are not talking about the small, empty shops in the shopping malls, but rather the brands that were once a part of many Americans' memories. Subway, Checkers, Boston Market, or even the big players like Burger King or Papa John's. A wave of erasure is quietly forming in the world of fast food. Once the cheapest meal for workers, the place where countless students began their first part-time jobs, where parents took their children every weekend as a small joy. But now, that picture is at risk of shattering. Rising ingredient costs, expensive rent, changing technology, and the new generation of customers leaving without looking back. And if you think that McNuggets, footlongs, or cheap pizzas will always be a safe choice, then maybe you should watch this video all the way through. Because in the context of an impending recession, even once invincible brands are on the brink. Now, we will point out the 10 fast food chains at the highest risk of collapsing if the US economy falls into crisis. This is not just a list of brands. It is a sign of the end of a lifestyle that has shaped an entire generation of Americans. Wherever there is America, there is McDonald's. With over 13,000 locations nationwide, McDonald's is not just a place to buy a Big Mac or fries. It has been a cultural icon, a first date spot, a month-end dinner when payday hasn't arrived, or simply a temporary refuge during long shifts. But now, the golden arches on the logo seem to be fading. In 2024, McDonald's recorded a 3.4% decline in domestic sales amid rising inflation and consumers starting to hesitate even over a $9 meal. Meanwhile, menu prices continue to rise. A Big Mac combo can now see California or New York, causing many loyal customers to step back. A single mother living in Ohio, working night shifts in a warehouse and often stopping by McDonald's after work. I used to buy 2 Happy Meals for the kids every weekend. Now I have to choose between getting gas or buying fast food. McDonald's has always been a refuge for low-income workers who need a hot, cheap, and quick meal. The elderly, not familiar with technology for ordering, but seeking familiarity from the counter staff. Part-time students, needing minimum wage jobs to pay for books or rent. If McDonald's starts closing down, as has happened with over 100 branches in the past year in low-income areas, then it's not just losing a store, but cutting off a small lifeline for millions of working-class Americans. And don't forget, when large chains face difficulties, the pressure will shift to independent stores, which often lack the capacity to withstand rising ingredient costs, rent, and labor crises. You might not remember what you ate yesterday, but you'll remember the first time you took your child to get a Happy Meal. Do you think McDonald's can adapt, or is its era coming to an end? Leave a comment below, and next, we'll move on to another chain that used to be the healthiest fast food, but is now struggling to survive. Do you remember the time when Subway was the healthiest choice among a jungle of greasy fast food? A 12-inch sub, you choose the fillings, vegetables, and sauce. Simple, yet convenient. With over 40,000 stores worldwide, Subway once surpassed even McDonald's in the number of outlets. But that was a thing of the past. And if the United States officially enters a recession in the near future, Subway could very well be the first brand to clearly feel the impacts of the strong and fierce economic culling. Perhaps you are familiar with the Subway outlets that have been hanging closed signs in shopping malls recently. Not only that, even in neighborhoods of low-income workers, and even at rest stops that once thrived on tourist traffic, many Subway stores are no longer in operation. In 2023, this chain closed more than 500 stores just in the US, and this pace shows no signs of slowing down in 2025. If there is a simple and most appropriate reason to explain this wave of closures, it might be that prices no longer match the quality. The cost of ingredients has increased, causing a loaf of bread that used to cost $5 to now range from $8 to $1. However, when the price increases, the quality of the ingredients does not improve at all. Many customers complain about the wilted vegetables, dry and hard bread, and bland meat. The brand image of being healthy is gradually becoming hollow, especially as the younger generation shifts to salad bowls, poke, or organic food. And when the economy is tough, consumers will choose meals that are more filling, cheaper, and Subway no longer falls into that category. Along with that, the franchise model is in chaos. Subway owns more than 20,000 stores in the US, mostly operated by small owners. But the lack of quality control, internal price competition, and high franchise fees are causing a wave of store closures, even before the crisis hits. While brands like Jersey Mike's, Firehouse Subs, or even local sandwich chains are heavily investing in image, flavor, and technology, Subway is still struggling with an outdated menu and advertising campaigns that fail to connect. And if a recession occurs, Subway could witness an unprecedented wave of closures. Small store owners, already weary from low profit margins, will not be able to withstand rising rents, ingredient costs, and dwindling customer numbers. Maybe you used to eat Subway all through college. Maybe you used to think it was a healthier choice than McDonald's. But in a turbulent economy, nostalgia cannot keep a brand afloat. And with Subway, this sandwich empire is facing a serious question. Can they survive another crisis? Or is this the real end? Once, Burger King was McDonald's toughest competitor. But now, that king is lost in his own kingdom. The slogan, "Have it your way," once represented an easily attainable luxury. The freedom of choice, a warm meal at a reasonable price, and the feeling of being served your way. But today, even that right to choose is gradually disappearing. And if America officially falls into recession, Burger King could be the next chain to disappear quietly. In 2023, Burger King closed more than 400 locations in the US, a shocking number even to experts. And the reason is not just inflation, but also a series of strategic mistakes, from unsuccessful menu changes to a convoluted franchise management model, and most importantly, the inability to retain middle-income consumers. With rising inflation and constantly increasing raw material costs, Burger King is struggling to maintain low prices without compromising quality. Customers won't tolerate it for long, especially when they have many more affordable options. A Whopper combo can now cost up to $13 to $14 in populous states like Florida or New York. With that amount of money, many people would rather buy frozen food at the supermarket. A retired truck driver in Pennsylvania, now living on a modest pension, shared, "In the past, my wife and I used to stop by Burger King every Sunday after church. Now we can only afford one meal and share it. Pension hasn't increased, but food prices keep skyrocketing. There is a college student in Texas who is working part-time at Burger King to help his family. Each month, he earns about $600 from this job, enough to cover part of his tuition and help his mother pay the electricity bill. He said, "If Burger King closes down, I'll lose my income, and I might have to take a break from school. Working here is not just a job, but a way for me to make a living." Those are just 2 out of millions of low-income workers, those who depend on fast food chains to make a living while having no easy alternatives. When the BK stores close, it will not just be a loss of a brand, but a loss of a part of their livelihood, a part of their lives. Even Burger King itself admitted in its 2024 financial report that they are losing touch with the working class, a thought-provoking but necessary self-admission. If Burger King cannot withstand the recession, where will low-income workers go? Where will they find a low-paying, flexible job that is enough to sustain their lives in an increasingly expensive society? The answer is, they won't have many options. So can we leave low-wage workers, students, and low-income families behind in this economic crisis? Burger King may not just be losing a store. It could be the end of a whole chapter of life for millions of poor workers. Checkers and Rallies. The name may sound small, but it is an indispensable part of the memories for many working-class American families. With its distinctive double drive-through model, it used to be the ideal destination for those who didn't have time, didn't have much money, but still needed a hot, greasy meal and plenty of memories. But in the approaching recession, Checkers and Rallies may no longer be a familiar stop. According to a report from QSR magazine, the chain has lost more than 16% of its revenue compared to the same period last year, and the closure rate in southeastern states is rising rapidly. The small roadside stores are struggling with skyrocketing ingredient prices, high rental costs, and labor shortages. A delivery driver in Birmingham, Alabama, works 10 hours a day with no fixed breaks, and Checkers is where he often stops during his shift, both cheap and energizing enough to keep him going. A $6 meal is the ideal solution. Simple, not expensive. He shared, "I don't eat fancy. I just need a place that's quick, not making me spend $15 on a lunch. If they close, I'll have to eat a cold sandwich in the car." The affected parties are not just the customers, but also the workers behind the kitchen counter. Students work part-time to pay for tuition. Single parents without high qualifications rely on jobs at Checkers to cover their rent. And even the elderly who are no longer hired in many places still find opportunities here. When stores like Checkers disappear, it's not just a fast food chain closing down. It's a small link in the chain of workers' lives disappearing as well. And the saddest part is, many low-income neighborhoods, where there are no Whole Foods, no Trader Joe's, are losing the last thing they had left, a cheap fast food restaurant. When a chain like Checkers disappears, the rich won't notice. But the poor workers, those who quietly keep this economy running every day, will be the ones who feel the loss most acutely. And if an economic recession hits, it won't just be the banks, corporations, or stock markets that collapse, but it will be the small shops on the street corners, which sustain countless people, that will disappear quietly. Popeyes used to be an icon of American comfort food. Crispy, spicy fried chicken with a New Orleans flavor, served with hot biscuits and the smile of the night shift employee. But in 2025, the very chicken pieces that once made this brand are now threatening to shake the entire system. According to data from Restaurant Business Online, ingredient costs at Popeyes have increased by more than 23% over the past 18 months. Cooking oil, chicken, flour, everything is on the rise. Meanwhile, the average combo price in many areas has exceeded $11, which has caused quite a few customers. A resident in Detroit shared, "I don't cook much. Popeyes is the place I stop by 2 to 3 times a week. It's quick and convenient. But now, a small meal costs over $10. With this pension, I don't dare to eat anymore. But going to the market and cooking is already exhausting." When consumers cut back on spending for meals that are more expensive than convenient, Popeyes, which is priced higher than KFC or Church's Chicken, will no longer be on the buy without thinking list. But it's not just the customers who are affected. Popeyes primarily operates through a franchise model, so when revenue declines, small investors, the independent store owners, bear the risk. Many people took out loans to open Popeyes stores, and now they are facing employee layoffs, reduced operating hours, and even bankruptcy. Part-time employees have their shifts cut, losing their main source of income. Students have a hard time finding part-time jobs in the area. The poor neighborhoods are losing one of their few affordable dining options. Popeyes used to be the familiar Friday dinner for many middle-class families. But in the context of the recession, even that familiarity has become a luxury. Have you ever stood waiting at Popeyes on a weary, rainy afternoon just to buy a hot meal for the whole family? Have you ever felt nurtured just by a crispy, spicy sandwich? Share your story, because sometimes the simplest things are the first to be swept away by recession. Hardee's used to be a major fast food icon, where people would go to enjoy rich burgers and crispy fries. However, for many workers and middle-class American families, Hardee's is now becoming a fading memory, and by 2025, that could officially come to an end. Along with the rising costs of ingredients, rent, and the minimum wage not keeping pace, Hardee's is facing an unprecedented crisis. The average meal price at Hardee's has risen to nearly $13, which is a significant shock for those with low or middle incomes, especially when wages are not keeping pace with the rising cost of goods. They can't hold on, and many, a regular worker in St. Louis shared, "Back in the day, Hardee's was our family's weekend destination. buying 4 burger combos, drinking Pepsi. We laughed and talked happily. Now, when I see the price list, I have to think twice about whether I have enough money to feed the whole family. If this situation doesn't change, before long, we will have to say goodbye to Hardee's. Hardee's used to be an ideal part-time job for students, college students, or those who needed a side job to make ends meet. However, when the stores closed, thousands of people lost important job opportunities. With this decline, low-income families, who have always considered Hardee's a budget-friendly option for fast food, now face the loss of a convenient choice that is still nutritious. Hardee's is not only affected by rising raw material prices, but also by a franchise model that is starting to seem outdated in today's era. New brands are emerging, quickly adapting to consumer preferences and offering better products at more reasonable prices. For investors who have put money into Hardee's, the collapse of this chain could impact their finances, causing them not only to lose revenue, but also to face unpayable debts. So what do you think? Hardee's used to be a big brand, but now it seems unable to sustain its existence. Do you remember the last time you visited Hardee's? And could it be that prices and changes in consumer trends have made us no longer fond of places like that? Jack in the Box might not be the first name that comes to mind when you think of major fast food brands, but don't let this silence fool you. This chain was once an indispensable part of the fast food world in America, especially with its flavorful burgers and appealing fast food breakfast items. However, 2025 could be the end for this chain if the current situation continues. In the context of skyrocketing food prices, high tax rates, and rising labor costs, Jack in the Box is facing a storm that even bold advertising strategies cannot salvage. Raising prices, but the quality and service do not meet consumer expectations. A worker in Las Vegas shared, "I used to be a regular at Jack in the Box. On rushed mornings, I always chose a sandwich or burger for convenience. But now I'm hesitating with the nearly $8 price for a burger, while just a few months ago, I only had to pay around $5 for the same item. It's no longer a budget-friendly option." Low-income workers, students, or those with low-wage jobs often frequent Jack in the Box because of its affordability, speed, and convenience. But as prices continue to rise, they will have to face a choice: eat less or switch to a cheaper fast food chain. Night shift workers, who always seek convenience and fast food to continue their jobs, will feel abandoned when Jack in the Box stores can no longer operate. According to statistics, Jack in the Box has reduced the number of stores by 5% in 2024 and is expected to continue closing more if it cannot adjust its operating model and prices. Profits have sharply declined in the recent quarter, causing shareholders to start worrying about the long-term viability of this chain. Jack in the Box is a chain with a strong franchise model. However, with rising costs and changing consumer demands, many franchisees can no longer afford to maintain the stores. Compared to competitors like Shake Shack or Five Guys, Jack in the Box has yet to create a distinct difference. The dishes are no longer distinctive and frequently face complaints about quality, causing customers to turn away. With an increasingly competitive market and consumers no longer willing to pay for expensive fast food meals that lack innovation and quality, Jack in the Box could be the next name on the list of declining fast food brands by 2025. Even for loyal customers, when this brand leaves the areas they live in, it will be a big surprise. A familiar image will be replaced by newer, smarter, and more affordable brands. Del Taco used to be one of the standout fast food chains in the Tex-Mex culinary world in the US. With a diverse menu ranging from tacos and burritos to convenient fast food at affordable prices, Del Taco has always been a favorite choice for busy people, workers, and students. However, in 2025, this chain is facing a major challenge and could collapse if it doesn't change its operating methods. In the context of rising inflation, the prices of fast food chains like Del Taco have become a major issue. Low-income workers, students, and families like Tina's can no longer afford meals here, forcing them to seek out cheaper alternatives. Del Taco was originally famous for its convenience, But with rising prices and declining quality, those who were used to coming here every day now face cutting back on dining out and finding new chains that better fit their budget. Del Taco has closed more than 20% of its stores in the past year and shows no signs of recovery. According to the financial report, the chain's revenue has decreased by 7% in the most recent quarter. Although Del Taco has tried to improve by launching new dishes, the lack of innovation and failure to keep up with new culinary trends continue to cause them to lose loyal customers. While other Tex-Mex brands like Taco Bell and Chipotle are thriving with innovative, high-quality dishes, Del Taco has yet to catch up with the trend. They lack innovation, and the menu has become somewhat bland, no longer generating the excitement it once did. While the major fast food chains are still trying to navigate through this tough period, Del Taco is facing life-or-death decisions. Can this brand regain its position and continue to serve customers who love affordable Tex-Mex? Or will 2025 be the year Del Taco falls into oblivion, making way for newer and more innovative brands? Church's Chicken used to be a symbol of delicious, affordable, and convenient fried chicken. With its crispy chicken pieces and appealing side dishes, Church's Chicken attracts a large number of customers, especially low-income workers, large families, and students working part-time. However, 2025 could mark the downfall of this fried chicken chain if there is no significant change in its business strategy. With the increase in food prices and operating costs, Church's Chicken has raised menu prices, making it impossible for loyal customers like Michael to continue visiting. For low-income workers, cheap fried chicken like Church's is one of the most enjoyable meals. But when prices go up, they will have to look for other options to save on expenses. For families with many children or night shift workers, Church's Chicken is a great option because the food is quick and affordable. However, when the stores start closing or can no longer maintain the quality of the food, they will no longer have a convenient option and will have to turn to other brands. Church's Chicken has closed more than 15% of its stores in 2024 and is expected to continue reducing the number if the current situation does not improve. Revenue dropped 9% in the recent quarter, largely due to a decrease in repeat customers and rising costs, which have made it unsustainable for many stores to continue operating. Many customers have started to comment that Church's Chicken is no longer crispy and tasty like before. Some stores have received complaints about the inconsistent quality of the food, causing a loss of customer trust. While Popeyes and KFC continue to thrive with innovative menus and strong advertising, Church's Chicken has been unable to innovate and grow as they desire. The new stores do not have enough competitive quality and value compared to the larger fried chicken brands. If Church's Chicken cannot improve the quality of its food, optimize its business model, and refresh its menu, 2025 could mark the year of this fried chicken chain's collapse. Customers who love the convenience and value of Church's will have to face switching to other brands, causing a part of American culinary culture to potentially be forgotten. A&W, the fast food chain famous for its simple yet delicious burgers, has been a part of American culture for over 100 years. However, in the context of economic recession and changing consumer demands, A&W is facing a rather bleak future in 2025. A&W used to be a favorite destination for many families, especially low and middle-income workers. But now, with prices soaring, the quick and convenient meals at A&W are no longer a reasonable choice. For small families or those living in the suburbs, A&W was one of the most suitable choices for a limited budget. But when the store closes or the quality declines, they will have to look for other options without any trust in the old brand. While major fast food chains like McDonald's and Chick-fil-A are improving their menus and marketing strategies to cater to the needs of the new generation, A&W has not truly reinvented itself strongly enough. This makes them easily fall behind in a highly competitive market. Although A&W still maintains its traditional style, the younger generation today is no longer interested in old-fashioned dishes. Adding to this is the shift in eating trends. Fast food no longer attracts consumers' attention as it once did. This makes it difficult for A&W to maintain a stable customer base. Competitors like McDonald's and In-N-Out continuously launch new and innovative dishes, while A&W lacks much creativity in its menu. This puts them in a vicious cycle, making it difficult to attract new customers, especially the younger generation. With the current difficulties, A&W needs to change quickly to maintain its position in the market. If not, 2025 could be the year that marks A&W's withdrawal from the list of famous fast food chains in the US. Loyal customers like James may have to look for new options, and A&W will no longer be a familiar name to them. So we have explored the 10 largest fast food chains that might no longer exist in 2025. Names like Subway, McDonald's, Popeyes, and A&W were once familiar symbols of American food culture. However, changes in the economy, new consumer trends, and internal issues within these chains are pushing them towards the brink of collapse. And this not only affects the brands, but also directly impacts the lives of millions of workers, families, and loyal customers. Share your thoughts. Do you think these fast food chains will find a way to revive? Or will we witness a new generation of fast food emerging? Leave your opinion in the comments section below the video. Don't forget to like and subscribe to the channel so you won't miss out on interesting analysis and exploration videos in the future. This video is for reference and analysis purposes only, based on current information and trends. The predictions in the video may change depending on other influencing factors that we cannot foresee. Thank you for watching the video and see you in the next ones.